Have you ever felt a strange, profound sense of dread that tightens in your chest right before you know you have to interact with a specific person? You walk away from the conversation feeling completely hollowed out, as if your very life force has been subtly siphoned off, replaced by a suffocating heaviness that feels foreign and exhausting. This isn't just about feeling tired. It's a silent, yet utterly draining problem that compromises our inner peace and our very capacity to live a full, vibrant life. Can you recognize that physical and emotional sensation of being an emotional sponge, soaking up every drop of negativity around you until you are saturated and heavy? For decades, the standard advice has been to be more positive or to just ignore it. But we all know that's not how human psychology works. The good news is that the philosophy of Japanese minimalism offers a powerful and surprisingly gentle solution that goes far beyond superficial tips. Far from being just about empty houses and pristine aesthetics, minimalism is a profound way of life that teaches us to protect our most precious resource, our personal energy. It's an inner martial art for the soul. Today, we're going to explore how you can stop being a passive sponge for other people's negativity. This isn't a guide for aggressively cutting people out of your life in a cold and careless way. Instead, it's a compassionate journey to build an unshakable sanctuary within yourself. It's about transforming your role from a victim of energy drain to a conscious, empowered guardian of your own peace, ready to finally shield your energy and reclaim your focus for good. Stay with me. By the end, you'll have a new mental toolkit to handle negativity with elegance and effectiveness, and you'll know exactly how to use it to protect your peace. For Japanese philosophy, your mind, your body, and your personal space are sacred sanctuaries. They are places where your vital energy, or ki, should be cultivated, nurtured, and protected. Yet, many of us live with constant leaks in this sanctuary. Think of it like a beautiful, well-maintained home that has a slow, insidious drip coming from a pipe. You may not notice the water dripping at first, but over time, it creates mold, damages the foundation, and compromises the entire structure. These leaks are not always malicious. They are often people who, even without knowing it, bring a heavy emotional burden to every interaction. They feed on complaints, gossip, and bitter opinions. And you, out of empathy, a desire to help, or simply a deep-seated habit, become the listener, the emotional trash can, the problem solver. The result is a slow and insidious chronic exhaustion that compromises your mental health, stifles your creativity, and depletes the very energy you need to face your own challenges. You feel a kind of sympathy fatigue that leaves you too tired to care for your own needs. The great mindset shift that minimalism proposes is this: you are not the firefighter for every emotional blaze. You are not a universal emotional support system. Your job is not to carry other people's burdens on your back. Your singular, most important responsibility is to curate and protect your own sanctuary. This means taking responsibility for your own energy, because no one else can do it for you. Japanese minimalism teaches us to be intentional about what we allow into our lives. If you apply Siri, which is the art of separating the necessary from the unnecessary, to your possessions, why wouldn't you apply it to your relationships and your mental intake? The goal isn't to be cold or distant, it's to be a diligent guardian of your energy, selecting interactions that genuinely nourish you and decisively letting go of those that deplete you. This journey begins with a fundamental change. You stop reacting and you start protecting. You are not just a passenger in your own emotional life. You are the captain. You are building an inner dojo, a mental training ground where you learn to defend your energy with grace and skill. To do this, you need a new mental toolkit. Here are the core strategies from Japanese minimalism to shield your energy and transform your interactions. The shield of your Ikigai. Have you ever felt pulled into a draining conversation and lost hours of precious time you could have spent on your passions or your work? That feeling of having your time stolen is an enormous energy drain and a direct threat to your well-being. Your Ikigai is your life's purpose, your reason for being. It is the sacred intersection of what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. This purpose acts as a powerful and unwavering emotional shield. When you are deeply centered on your Ikigai, you understand that your time and energy are not just yours, they are a finite resource for fulfilling your purpose. This perspective gives you an immediate, noble reason to protect your time from trivial or draining inputs. For example, imagine you are a creative professional and you have just a 1-hour window of time to work on a project that truly fulfills you. A friend calls to complain for the 10th time about the same issue. Your old self might have gotten pulled in, feeling guilty for not listening. But your new self, centered on your Ikigai, recognizes that giving your energy away in that moment means sacrificing your purpose. This empowers you to politely end the conversation, saying, "I'd love to chat more later, but I'm in the middle of something important for my work right now." You are not being rude. You are honoring your reason for being. This same principle applies to a parent whose Ikigai is raising a family. You protect your energy so you can be fully present for your children. Your purpose becomes your boundary. The practice of Zanshin. After the interaction, have you ever left a difficult conversation and found the negativity lingering in your mind for hours, replaying their words? That lingering emotional residue is where we lose a lot of our energy. It's like leaving a toxic substance on your hands after an interaction and not washing it off. Zanshin is a martial arts concept that means lingering mind or sustained awareness. It's the state of relaxed but focused awareness that remains even after an action is completed. This practice is your key to letting go of emotional residue. For example, after a coworker shares a negative opinion, your first reaction might be to stew on it. With Zanshin, you don't fight the feeling. Instead, you mindfully acknowledge that the interaction is over. You might take a moment to yourself, perhaps in the restroom or at your desk. You consciously take a few deep breaths and mentally release the conversation, saying to yourself, "The meeting is over, the energy is gone, my mind is clear." This practice of conscious release prevents the negativity from taking permanent root. You can even visualize the negativity as smoke leaving your body with each exhale. Zanshin teaches you to clean your mental slate, so you are ready for the next moment without carrying the burdens of the last. The art of Kintsugi for emotional resilience. Do you feel like you have to be emotionally flawless and unbreakable to deal with negativity? That pressure to not be affected is an exhausting lie. When a negative person says something hurtful or a draining interaction leaves you feeling chipped, the typical response is to pretend it didn't happen, to hide the crack. Kintsugi is the Japanese art of repairing broken pottery with gold lacquer, highlighting the cracks as a beautiful part of its history. This is the perfect metaphor for emotional resilience. You are not a flawless piece of pottery. You will get chipped. You will get broken by the negativity of the world. The goal is not to be unbroken, but to be skillfully repaired. For example, imagine a boss gives you a harsh criticism. It hurts. It leaves a crack. You don't try to hide that crack. You embrace it. You learn from the experience, and you use it to grow stronger. The next time you face a similar situation, you are not just a piece of pottery with a crack. You are a piece of pottery repaired with gold, a more beautiful, more resilient, and more valuable version of yourself. You are not unbroken. You are skillfully repaired, and you are stronger for it. Kintsugi gives you permission to feel the pain, but then it gives you the wisdom to use that pain as a material for your own growth and strength. The acceptance of Wabi-sabi. Do you find yourself constantly trying to fix or change negative people, feeling exhausted by the uphill battle? You're trying to force them to be perfect, to be what you need them to be, and that is a fundamental misunderstanding of the world. Wabi-sabi is a core Japanese aesthetic and philosophy that finds beauty in imperfection, transience, and simplicity. Instead of striving for flawless perfection, Wabi-sabi teaches us to embrace the natural, flawed reality of things. When you apply this to people, it becomes a radical act of energy protection. You stop resisting the fact that a person is negative because you accept their imperfection. For example, a family member is a chronic complainer. Your old mindset was to try and make them see the positive, which was an endless and frustrating battle. Your new mindset, guided by Wabi-sabi, simply accepts that this person's imperfection is part of their nature. You don't try to fix them. You simply observe their flaw, the same way you might appreciate the beautiful, uneven glaze on an old teacup. This acceptance stops the struggle, and when the struggle stops, the energy drain stops. You are no longer fighting their reality. You are simply existing alongside it. The trust in your Kansei. Do you hate that you're so sensitive to the negativity around you, feeling like it's a weakness? This feeling of being overly sensitive is often a major source of shame and a reason people feel drained. Kansei refers to a person's unique sensibility, their finely tuned intuition, and aesthetic judgment. Instead of seeing your sensitivity as a flaw, a minimalist approach would be to see it as a powerful instrument, a sophisticated radar for detecting energy. For example, you walk into a room and immediately feel a tense, negative atmosphere. Your old self might have tried to ignore it and push through, only to feel drained later. Your new self, guided by Kansei, trusts that feeling as an early warning system. You listen to that signal. Maybe you politely excuse yourself. Maybe you keep your interaction brief. Maybe you simply create more physical and emotional space. By learning to trust your Kansei, you transform a perceived weakness into a powerful strength, allowing you to take proactive measures to protect yourself before the negativity can ever take hold. You become a guardian of your own energy, guided by your own inner compass. Protecting your energy is not an act of selfishness, but a practice of profound self-respect. By adopting these minimalist strategies, you stop being a passive reactor and become a proactive guardian of your own purpose. You learn to set invisible boundaries, create a sacred space between you and negativity, and honor your energy as the most precious resource you possess. Start today. Which of these 5 strategies will you try first? Perhaps by focusing on your Ikigai before your next draining meeting. Maybe you'll practice Zanshin to mindfully let go of a difficult conversation. Or perhaps you'll start a radical new journey by embracing the Kintsugi of your emotional resilience. Share in the comments how you'll begin to protect your energy. Your journey inspires countless others. If this video has given you a new perspective on how to live with more peace and energy, please like, subscribe, and share it. Your journey to an unshakable inner sanctuary begins now.